Hello, my name is Gavin Diaz, and I am here to discuss the limitations and future implementations, future work that we would like to implement within our AI medical diagnosis assistant project. So to start off, the limitations, the very first limitation is our data and evaluation bias. We did train and test on a limited curated data set and not on real clinical data, obviously due to the strict security enforcements behind testing with real clinical data. We were able to only test with our own real synthetic realistic based data set. So therefore, in the future, we would definitely like to test with real clinical data if that would be possible. The second limitation is our simple symptom matching. We do not exploit the full HPO graph, and synonyms and free text patient descriptions are not handled. For example, as can be seen within our demo video, the user is able to put text within the search bar. However, they are required to select one of the drop-down selections, one of the drop-down options. Therefore, in the future, the current limitation is definitely that pre-text patient descriptions are not handled properly. So therefore, in the future, we would like to handle that as well. For the third point of our limitations, we are not clinically validated, and this is not a medical device. No comparison to real doctor diagnoses, no user studies, regulatory review, or safety checks, and this is only intended as a proof of concept decision support tool. Once again, this tool is meant to not necessarily replace doctors, but just as a proof of concept to help support the decision behind a doctor or a specialist as well. A couple of the future work points that we would like to address. The first being stronger data and evaluation. Once again, we would like to collect or simulate more diverse, noisy, and realistic cases, as well as add external test sets to measure generalization and avoid overfitting. And once again, tying that back to the first limitation, of course, we would like to test with a different sort of data set that wasn't necessarily created by us or mimics another real clinical data set. The second feature with implementation we would like to address is explainability and a couple of UI improvements. We would like to show which specific symptoms contributed most to each prediction, show which genetic variants influenced each disease, and we would also like to add visual breakdowns for different results. We believe that our UI was very does allow the user to understand what is going on, but we always believe as well that we could make subtle improvements, and these are just a couple. And this brings us to our last point, which is security, privacy, and clinical integration. We would like to add authentication and request logging, enforce stricter handling of VCF uploads, and evaluate with clinicians in a controlled environment. Once again, this project is meant to be accessed solely by clinicians or physicians, specialized doctors. Therefore, regular patients or patients in general should not have access to this, which is one of the other reasons why we would also like to add authentication and, of course, logging. Therefore, we can see who has accessed the project and if it was a clinician or, once again, someone who was only supposed to have access to this project. We would also like to enforce stricter handling of these uploads due to that being such private data. Obviously, this is required, security is required. And of course, evaluating with clinicians in a controlled environment, we would love for clinicians in the real world to use this product and to see how we could improve it and just to receive proper feedback. Overall, these are the limitations and future implementations that we'd like to work on. And thank you so much.